hope you people are having a good day. So what I'm going to do today is show you how to create a basic Django project for Manioc 21. And the first thing you need to do is open ONA. Once you open ONA, so what the project is going to do is it's going to be taking data from ONA and displaying that data on a website that we have created. So I'm just going to create a simple website that displays the first name, the last name, and the cooperative of farmers. So you can go here, click on farmers. We're going to deal with data from farmers only because this is just an example tutorial of how these things work. Another useful website is this website. This website contains documentation for ONA. It's called api.ona.io. I'm going to share links for both of these websites. Then yeah, these are the two main websites you need to do. So the first thing you need to do is go to your terminal, and this tutorial works for both Windows and Linux. And before working on this tutorial, first of all, make sure you have installed Python 3 on your machine. So if you have installed Python 3 on your machine, that's good. You can now start working on this project. So the first thing we're going to do is create a directory. Let's call the directory projects on our desktop. So we've created a directory called projects. Now let's create our Django project. Now use this command. Let's call our project what? Let's call our project Manioc. Right. So you type that command, you press enter. Then as you can see, the Django project has been created. Then you go to your text editor and open that folder. Open that folder you've created. You see on our desktop projects, then it was called Manioc. You open it, you can see here it is. Then that one is working correctly. So this tutorial works for both Ubuntu and Windows. So you see our project is created here, Manioc. So the next thing we do is run the following command. Run python well, the next thing we do, we go into the Django project. You see, then once you are in the Django project, you run the following command: python right. You run that. So when you run this command, it gives you a link. So when you copy this link, then you paste this link on your browser. If you see this, that means your Django project is set up correctly. So because our project is set up correctly, let's continue development. So to stop the server, to quit the server with Control C, you press Control C, then you stop the server. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to create like now a Django application. A Django application is just like a website. So I'm going to say python manage py start up. Let's just call it website, right? You see, website. It has been created. So when you go back to your text editor, you see our website has been created. So inside this folder called Manioc, there's a file called settings.py. When you go to settings.py, you have to register the website that you created. It's called website. You see, website. You register it here, then you save. After you save, you close. Once you have closed, you go to website. Has a website folder, has a file called views.py. You go to views.py. This is a file that contains function for displaying HTML. But even before I make any changes on this file, the first thing you need to do, in the website folder, create another folder inside the website called templates. This folder contains HTML templates. Then inside the template folder, create a file called let's call our file this file you're going to call it home.html. You can call it any name you want, but I'm just going to call it home.html. So you can see inside website I've created a folder called templates. Inside the folder called templates you have a file called home.html. So we have home.html. So let's put some basic HTML here, right? So let's just call it, the title, call it Manioc farmers. Can even call it Manioc 21 farmers. Then what we need something called a HTML table. An HTML table will help us to display data that we have fetched from ONA. So the good thing about Sublime Text, it predicts what you want to type, you see. So you have a table, then you have each tables have rows. We have a row here. So inside the row we have table headers. So today the data we're going to display is the first name, and I'm just going to copy paste to make this thing go fast. We're going to display first name, we're going to display surname, then we're going to display the crop of the farmer. Then inside the table we create another row, tr, then you just press enter. So here you put td. Td means table data, th means table heading, td means table data. So you can see our table has 3 columns. So the next thing we're going to do is now fetch that, create code that displays our HTML and fetches data from ONA. So when you go to this folder called, this file called views.py, you create a function, maybe call it home. Then this function returns requires, then call this home.html is the HTML template that we created. So this function is used for displaying this HTML. So you can see. Then we go to inside this folder called Manioc, there's a file called urls.py. urls.py is now for website URLs. It's for managing website URLs. So when you go into this file, you create something called a path. Our path for now will just be an empty path. So but before that you must, from website dot views import home. So you can see from website dot views import home, we can see website views, then inside views is a function called home. So we are importing that function with this code. Then you put here home, then you can give it a name. I know, you can just leave it like that, path, then home, you see. Then you save. After I do that, you save. Then the next thing you do, we run our server. Let's run our server. You see, it's running. So let's copy this URL and put it on our website. So first of all, make sure you have saved everything, like click save all. Then when you copy this URL, where is our URL? Now we copy our URL and we put it on our website. Make sure you have saved everything first. So as you can see here, we have our basic table, first name, surname, cop, but there's no data on the table, just empty. You see, it's just empty data. There's nothing here to be displayed. So this is just a link that contains instructions on how to set up HTML tables, which I'm going to copy. This is just basic styling of the table, which is not actually necessary, but it just depends. You can see our table is empty, first name, surname, then cop, there's nothing data. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to fetch data from ONA, right? We're going to fetch data from ONA and display it on this HTML, this basic HTML table. I'm not going to style this table because styling requires CSS, and CSS is just something that you should learn on your own. The essence of this project is to just display the data, not even to have a good design or anything. So what we're going to do before we do anything else, you have to make sure you have installed a library called request. So you type pip install requests. You see, you install this library called requests. So then you type enter, then it will install. In my machine I've already installed the library, so I'm not going to install again. So the work of this library is to help us get data from ONA and display it on our Django website. So that's it. So the next thing we're going to do, in website, we're going to the file called views.py. Then you're going to import that library that we installed. So you're going to import that library. Then so I'm going to say res equals to requests, no, requests.get. So we're going to, so when you look at the ONA documentation, you need this endpoint for fetching data. So we're going to copy this endpoint and paste it there. Then another thing you need the ID of the form. As you can see, for example, here this is the farmer's form, and on the farmer's form, the ID for this form is this number here, this number. This is the ID of this farmer's form, so you need to copy this number and put it here. Put a backslash, then you put it here. You can see. So basically this will fetch data from only the farmers table. So when you go to ONA, each table, let me show you something. Each table has its own ID. Let's say, for example, if we wanted to fetch data from what? From the table of fields or another table, this ID will be different. This ID right here will be a different ID. Okay, so while that is loading, this is the ID of the farmers table. Then we need authentication. You know, you cannot access ONA without authentication, so you do like this. So this is my name, then you put a comma, then this is my password for ONA. But on your case, make sure you use your own details. These are my details for ONA, this is my username for ONA, and this is my password. Then you come and say, you see the data that ONA gives us is in a format called JSON. So this method takes data from that JSON data. So here we're going to put something called context. We're going to put context here. So in short, what this means, the farmer data that we are getting from ONA, we are going to put that data in our HTML. That's why I put this code right here. We're going to send that data to our HTML. So when you go to our home.html, you now create something called a for loop. So for farmer and farmers, so and for then you're going, oh yeah, before I continue, I've forgotten something. There's something that we need, and there's something that we need. So there's this tool called Postman, but you really don't need this tool. This is the tool I use just to visualize the data that comes from ONA. As you can see, this endpoint here, this endpoint is the same endpoint that I'm using here in our views.py. So when a request is made to this endpoint, this is how the data will look like. For example, this is a list of farmers. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create in the website folder, create another folder called template tags. Then inside create a file called create a file called, you can call this file any name that you want, but I'm going to call it this file called data tags. Data tags.py. Let me just call it data tags.py. But this file you can call it any name you want. So, but just call it data tags.py. So inside this file, I'm going to put some code here. Let me copy that code from somewhere. This is a code. It's a code already written. So the essence of this code is to get is to help us. We don't need this option. So this code should look like this. It has a function called get value that, as you can see, this data from ONA, there's a key, then there's a value. So this method is used for getting the values from these keys. You see, the values from these keys. Get the values from these keys. So what I'm going to do, inside that folder, create a template tags, then the file called data tags.py, you put this code. Then on your HTML, inside the head, you put the following code. Say load data tags. This code is very important. We put this code because our file is called data tags load data. Now this is what we do next. We want to display the data now. So you say farmer get value. So the first value we want is the value of the first name. As you can see from the data from ONA, the value for the first name is this one. So you copy this. This is the key for the first name, then this is the value. So you copy this and put it there. You see. So I'm going to copy paste this code to make work easier. Then we paste this here. We paste this here. Then the next data we need, as you can see from this table is guiding us, we need first name then surname. So in ONA, you can see this key contains the surname, so you copy this key. This key contains the surname, so you put it here. Key surname. Then we need co-op. So as you can see here, this is the key for co-op and this is the value for co-op. So we just do the same thing. Now you see, perfect. You see co-op, surname, first name. Then these are the headings for the table. Now this is the actual data. So what this method for farmer in farmers does, it displays all the farmers that you see. ONA here, you can see this code here. ONA gave us farmers. So when you got the data for farmers, we send that data to the HTML. So in our HTML now, we are displaying that data using this code. So let me save, then run the project again. Let's run the server again and see. copy this link. So we copy that link and put it on your website and you type it. You can see our data has been displayed, but our table does not look good because I've not used CSS to style it. But the important thing is the fact that we are now displaying the data. For example, this is a name, this is the surname, and this is the cop. You see, our data is being displayed from ONA on our local website. Very well. You see that now is working very perfectly. So let's say, for example, I wanted to add a new data, like for example, when I go to ONA, maybe I want to add like username, or there are so many things. Let me add something maybe let's say I want to add the role of this farmer. So what do? I want to add the role of farmers to my table. It's simple. I come to this table, I create a new header, then I put their role, then here I copy this, then here our key is role. You see, one thing you should notice, these headers are matching with this data, like first name here, surname, cop, role, and role. So this order is very important. So I wanted to add role. You see, I added a header called role, and I also added this code. So once I save that and I go back to my website, when I reload, you can see, when I reload, you can see role has been added. These are the roles of those farmers. Yeah, as in this table does not look good because the essence of this tutorial is just to show you how to display the data. But so on top of this, you need to learn CSS and HTML so that you can create styling for tables. And that's something I'm not going to teach. I'm very sorry. You can see now first name, surname, cop, then the role. Very good. Now the next thing we're going to do, we want to put this project online so that other people can access it. So what we're going to do is go to GitHub, make sure you have signed into your GitHub. You see me, I've gone to my GitHub and I have signed in. If you don't have an account, you can create a GitHub account. So once you sign in, go to you come here, then you click on your repository. Then when you are here, you create a new project. Let's call it Manioc. See, I create a new project called Manioc. Create. So once I've created, you see, my project has been created. So the first thing you need to do, you need to go to your project. You need to press Ctrl+C to stop the server. Then type this command. Then enter. When you type this command, you see this. Once you type this command, you come here and copy this code. This code here. Copy this. Come here, you paste. And another thing you should know is you have to make sure that you have installed GitHub on your machine. Whether it's Ubuntu or whether it's Windows, make sure you have installed GitHub in order for this git commands to run. So you press enter. So after you press enter, you type git add, type git commit, then the message can be anything. You can see Manioc ONA, just call it Manioc ONA test grid. You put a commit. So this message in the commit can be anything, can be any message you want to put. So you type enter. Then you type git push. When you type git push, you will be asked for your username. So me, I'm going to put my GitHub username. So here you will put your username. My username, for example, is then put your password for GitHub. I'm not going to show you my password. Then once you put your password, so once you put your password, your project has been pushed online, so other people can now access it. So I'm also going to share a link for GitHub tutorials so that you can learn how GitHub works. Okay. So once you've done that, when you go to your GitHub repositories, you can see we have our project. Our project, I updated this project 27 seconds ago. Our project is here, and you can now see the project is now online. So this project can be accessed by other people who can also make changes and updates. So yeah, so that is where our tutorial is going to end today. That's where this tutorial is going to end, and I hope you have a good day, and I hope like you have learned a lot from what I have taught you, and you can use this and the knowledge from ONA, the knowledge from Django, the knowledge from HTML to create more projects like this. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much.